This is Wretched Radio with Todd Friel.
You see, you're probably thinking that I'm being rude by eating this Zaxby's chicken sandwich while talking into a microphone. I'm not being rude. I'm being helpful. I'm being altruistic. I'm not sure what that word means, actually. I'm being a very helpful Christian man, making up for the deficit of some Christian who went to Starbucks today and contributed 25 cents to the Lady Gaga Foundation by buying a cup of coffee there. So I am willing for that person to kindly balance the scales by eating Zaxby's because it's owned by a bunch of Baptists. So here's how it's sort of like the carbon offset thing, or like indulgences if you prefer. Go ahead and sin as long as you pay for it. So here's what I understand now. You can still go to the Starbucks and contribute a 25 cents to the Lady Gaga fund by buying a cup of coffee as long as later that day you eat at Chick-fil-A. Now, there are rules to this. You also have to do it within 72 hours. Otherwise, it doesn't count. And you say, that seems rather ridiculous. So too do indulgences. Yeah. So do carbon offsets. I was just reading an interview with Al Gore. Hold on. Sorry, even thinking about reading the article put me to sleep. He's boring in print. He told him that God told him to start this campaign for the global warming business. Sorry, Al. Doesn't work that way unless you got a Bible verse. God didn't tell you anything. He's on a campaign. He's got a sequel now coming out to the what was the first one called?
Inconvenient Truth.
An Inconvenient Truth. This is called an inconvenient sequel, I'll say. It's taken up space in the Cineplex where some good movies could be shown. Scratch that. There aren't any good movies these days. The point is, he's still on the campaign, living in a mansion, flying around in a private jet, maybe spending time with Leonardo DiCaprio on his yacht that is bigger than most of our homes. In fact,
it runs on air, right?
No. He's a huge carbon polluter, but as long as you balance it out, then it's okay. Plant a tree, cut down a tree, run a yacht, buy some trees in Africa, then we've just balanced ourselves out. Phony and baloney. The indulgence system is worse. I think last week, didn't we read about the Pope saying that you can spend less time in purgatory if you follow me on Twitter? Speaking of the Roman Catholic Church, this is not good. It was reading about, you probably are not going to be shocked at this, the church sex scandal. It's alive and well. Here is the headline from the Christian Post. Sorry, let me just move my chicken sandwich over. Don't worry. I'll finish it by the end of the show so you can go to Starbucks today because I'm a giver.
Obligation.
I am an altruistic giver. Was that redundant? I'm willing to bite the chicken sandwich so that you can have your sinful cup of Starbucks coffee and support Lady Gaga. The Church's National Review Board for the Protection of Children and Young People found in May that between July 1, 2015 and June 30th, 2016, so a year, let's call it, shall we? There were 1,232 abused individuals who brought forth 1,318 allegations of sexual abuse by clergy. No doubt there were a few girls involved in that, but mostly boys. The problem is alive and well. I'm not sure that's the right phrase. It's not well. It's awful, and it's not being dealt with. By 2014, do you know how much the Roman Catholic Church has spent on the sex scandals that you don't hear a lot about in the news these days?
A ton?
How much does a ton weigh these days?
About a ton.
Hold on. But take your time and answer. Hold on.
All right. Let's see if you subtract it.
Taking care of another coffee drinker right there by drinking my Zaxby's soda.
But way more than a lot.
Because I'm a giver. $3 billion.
That's
$3 billion.
stunning.
You think it's a problem? Yes. Yes, it is. Speaking of church news, the Methodist Church. Listen carefully. You can hear John Wesley spinning in his grave. The United Methodist Church has appointed a transgender deacon, the Reverend M. Barkley, a transgender person who identifies as neither male nor female and thus uses the pronoun they, was commissioned on Sunday as the first non-binary member of the clergy in the United Methodist Church. Non-binary. M is an it. They. And they use that pronoun, by the way.
So he's them.
Bishop Sally commissioned it on Sunday.
Nothing right with this whole story.
That's when the problem really started. Hold on for just a second. I think it was in New Zealand. Nope, sorry, scratch that. New Zealand, their young people are killing themselves. Don't know why. And New Zealand has the highest youth suicide rate in the developed world. The rate of 15.6 suicides per 100,000 people is twice as high as the U.S. rate, 5 times the rate of Great Britain. They speculate why. A lot of it gets into bullying. A lot of it gets into gender issues, sexual issues. And so there's more of a caricature of a New Zealand man being kind of a burly sort of dude. So now they're trying to come up with different role models for the boys so that they can act more soft and not feel the pressure to be, because they're speculating. That's why the number of suicides, no foundation for that. I don't know what the reason is, but it's not good. I wonder. This is what I do wonder. This would be if I were going to sleuth this one out in New Zealand, the developed country of New Zealand, although it's quite rustic and everybody says it's spectacularly beautiful. I wonder what the ratio of churches per capita is. Joey, you think you could find out that statistic, Mr. Sleuth? Let's see how many churches they have per capita in New Zealand versus America. Now you say that's pretty, could be really radically different. There are 350,000 churches, Protestant churches in America for 330 million people. I wonder what the ratio is in New Zealand. I'll bet they're a lot less churched than we are. I'm just guessing. But it was Colombia gets there first. Now, see, I don't believe this article. I just don't believe this. I know that it was reported in the Telegraph, but they said that this will never happen. So this could not have happened because they said it would never happen. They said the slippery slope would not be slid down. So I can't believe that a family of 3 just got married. That's right. Yeah. 3 gay men say they've gained legal recognition as the first polyamorous family in Colombia, where same-sex marriage was legalized just last year. Congratulations, Colombia. You're an overachiever. What you are right there. Didn't they say that we were ridiculous for stating this? Here's what it does demonstrate, though, in our culture today. The slippery slope argument does not work. It has no force. It does not win the day. And this is, I think, demonstrated. Because we can go back with all the I told you souls so that we want to, and it doesn't make any difference. They're just going to do it because they're going to do it. Where is the end? The answer? Well, we're not there yet. Now it's a threesome. Do you remember we asked? So what's to keep 3 people, 5 people, 6 people from getting married? Oh, are you saying that everybody likes to sleep with goats? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Lawyer and gay rights activist German Rincon Perfetti said there are many 3-person unions in Colombia, but this was the first one to be recognized. It is a recognition that other types of families exist. This is our government endorsing licentiousness. And if you continue to be flummoxed, which is different than being a flubber, if you're flummoxed over culture, why, how did we get to what? That they reject and deny that genders exist? That you're born as a boy or a girl? We've got the science. We can look at chromosomes, body parts. There's clearly gender specificity. And yet we reject it. Don't forget, this is a no-brainer for people to reject this in our culture because they've already rejected something that is far more obvious, God. Read Romans 1:18 through about 24. They suppress the truth in unrighteousness. In other words, they swallow the big pill. God doesn't exist. Then all forms of licentiousness are okay, including not recognizing their state. You say it's so detached from reality. Denying God has already detached them from reality. So this is now a no-brainer. Joey, how many churches per capita in New Zealand?
Can't find the stats, but it's less than
See, that's
half
because they
like
don't have any
average
churches
person.
in New Zealand. My premise is proved exactly true. I just suspect they have fewer churches. And we have a culture that is feeling the pain of that. They've detached themselves from the obvious reality that God exists. Now there's no genders. Morality is now fluid. And I suspect you'll see more and more statistics like what we're seeing in New Zealand's everywhere. This is Wretched Radio.
Thanks for listening to the Wretched segment du jour. If you'd like more Wretched, you can listen to the most current stream for free at wretched.tv/listen, or you can become a club member and listen to our entire archive. Wretched, reaching the lost, equipping the saints, and strengthening the local church.